Okay, we're recording again. Hi again.
Okay. Hi again.
Part two.
Part two. So part two of what? What are we doing right now? We're going through the PDF that you have created for all of the factual information that you have collected for the past few years, several years on the
Since like
Sarsahr.
2013, 2012.
Yeah. So just I just want to reiterate to people that this is a girl that has her facts, that's been studying it for a long time. The Sarsahr are her passion, and we may be like a partnership in Stardust, but it's truly your baby, and you're the one with all the information, and I'm in love this ride with you, but it's truly your passion. It's your thing. I'm just along for the ride. So you got a question. I was going to say, if you have a question about it, then ask you, but no, you either watch this video or you go read the PDF.
Right. Right. And if you still have a question that we didn't address in the video, then come ask me. Don't come ask me shit that we have already covered,
because she's really covered her ass. She gets questions all the time.
Exactly. And I'm a teacher, kind of, I've been a teacher before, and I'm becoming a substitute teacher, and I'm like, listen the first time so I don't repeat myself, kind of thing. So I get my teacher mood on. All right.
That's right. Okay.
All right. So
none
of this information. We're going to go over the home planet. I just want to reiterate also, it's factual-based information. None of this is channeled. All of this is firsthand experience, things I've been told by them, not channeled information. So no filters are involved with this. All right. So their home planet. The Sarsahr home planet's about 37 light years from Earth. They used to be very secretive of where they come from, but they decided to tell me about it because they trust me. Their planet orbits a binary star near Arcturus. So their planet doesn't orbit Arcturus. It's a binary star near Arcturus. There is much speculation whether or not Arcturus has a binary star, which you can look up this information, and I have before, because it cannot be picked up on any of our telescopes. Oh. But the Sarsahr do live there, and they find it funny that we don't think their star exists because we can't see it. That's just how we are. Seeing is believing. The Sarsahr that live here on Earth take comfort when they look up at that star, which is why Arcturus is very important to them. The planet itself has a dense atmosphere and has a very hot and dry climate. So it's very similar to our Amazon rainforest. It's very similar in that climate. There's a constant layer of clouds that covers the sky, which makes them unable to see the stars or even their sun. And their sun is like in the second phase, so it's a huge just ball, and it doesn't have a lot of shine to it like ours does, but it emits a lot of heat, which is why they don't get, this is why they're not tanned like we are from the sun, but it's a super hot climate. So the planet,
I was just going to say, I remember I was thinking of this the other day when we were in Nevada, and you trans-channeled Sam, and he said, God, I haven't seen the sun in a long time, or something like that. And I go, you can see the sun? And he didn't mean that. He just meant the sunlight in general. That was just interesting to me that, and because you just told me that they had the cloud cover on their planet too, so they didn't really see it there.
Yeah, it's constant overcast. So the planet is much bigger than ours, than Earth, and it takes 48 hours to go through a full day. So the way it spins and stuff. As a result, the Sarsahr will have 2 days of rest while staying awake for 2 full days. Unlike Sam, who only sleeps for like 16 hours or less than that. He refuses to sleep the full. The planet has large lakes where the Sarsahr get their water, but they don't have large oceans like Earth does. Theirs is more land than water. And they have no, I won't say that. But the Sarsahr prefer to live underground on their home planet in order to escape the heat and any types of storms or weather dangers that may occur. They think it's illogical for us to live above ground.
I do
too. They're like, you have so many hurricanes and tornadoes and fires. You can avoid all that if you lived underground.
And it's so expensive to heat and cool, be all insulated. I'm with him.
So it rains on their planet. And they do have large mountains on their planet like Earth does. High up on the mountains, there is a snow-like substance, but it is much different than our snow on Earth. It's not exactly the same. It's more, I've tried it's just hard to explain. It's more like like a chalk kind of thing.
Huh. Okay.
Because the Sarsahr come from such a hot planet, they prefer warmth. Anything below 70 degrees or even 80 degrees is uncomfortable to them. And they also get very sick. They also get sick very easily in the cold weather. On their planet, they no longer have any animals since the Sarsahr killed them all off, which vegans and vegetarians will find very interesting because they don't eat meat, but that doesn't mean they like animals.
Right.
Right.
It has anything to do with morals.
I found that very interesting. And they find it weird that humans choose not to eat meat because they care for the life of the animal. They find that a very odd characteristic, and only humans do that.
And then not only that, you got those people that eat their pets.
And you got that too, which they find just as strange as well. They just think it's weird we eat meat. Like, don't eat meat because it's gross, not because you care.
Right.
So the animals on their planet were considered very dangerous. So when the Sarsahr were technologically advanced enough, they killed off all the animals. They still have insects because of the dense atmosphere. There are no flying insects or birds on their planet. So nothing flies. But they've learned that your planet can survive without animals, but it can't survive without its bugs and insects.
Mm.
And they said that we are the only species they've come across, like, they consider us intelligent, which I find funny, but we're the only intelligent species they've come across that live among their animals. Every other advanced species has killed their animals off, according to them.
That's strange. Doesn't it just seem like it shouldn't be that way? But they don't know everything. They just know their world. There's got to be other smarty pantses out there that love animals too.
Right. So it's not like some of them got advanced enough where they were just like, well, let's just kill them all, because they're causing problems, they're dangerous, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
We don't need them anymore. And then there's some of them where it's just the animals died as a result of this advanced species. Like, kind of like ours are becoming more extinct.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's the same thing. So eventually, the Sarsahr, their theory is that eventually all our animals are going to go extinct as well. And we're trying so hard to preserve it, which they find so odd. They're like, we've never witnessed that before, Anyway, I drew I saw this in a vision, in a dream. So this is a channeled piece of information, I guess. But
which I cannot see. Are you showing something?
No, you can't see, but people have to look at the document to see it. It's the living quarters from their whole planet that leads to their underground area. It's this roadway. It looks pretty cool. Anyway, so now we're going to move on to beliefs and ego. Different section now. So the Sarsahr believe that everyone comes from the same place. They do not give a name to it or gender, but humans, we call it God or source or life source. They believe in the same concept. So they believe everything and everyone comes from this collective energy. So plants, animals, what have you. Before this belief, they used to believe in multiple gods and goddesses, very similar to the Egyptians. And they actually taught the Egyptians this belief of the multiple gods. They do not have organized religion. Every Sarsahr has the same belief that we are all one. Most Sarsahr do not participate in any ritualistic practices. They do not celebrate holidays, not even birthdays, because they have no need to. But there are some dedicated Sarsahr that dedicate their entire lives to staying connected to the collective energy and bring forth channel messages to the Sarsahr people. They are similar to what we know as shamans. And Sam prefers the term shaman versus elder. So I've also used the term elders, but they're also called shamans. So I'm going to use the term shaman for this. The shaman sometimes can make decisions for the entirety of the Sarsahr people. And it isn't a selective group of people that are shamans. Any Sarsahr who feels drawn to become one can. These shamans are also the ones to appoint the leaders for the Sarsahr, which is Sam is a leader. So there's more than one leader, and they base their decision off of the individual being at a certain high vibration. So depending where that Sarsahr is at, and their emotions and spiritual and mental know-how, it depends on how high of a promotion they can get. And they find that.
So I'm sorry, help me understand, because this feels mathy. So I know that is he already a shaman? Is he up there? And when you say leader, do you mean like the leader of, I'm sorry to not use the right words, but the leader of the Nevada mountain gang?
Mountain gang.
Or
Yeah, I mean the leader of that base. So, okay. I will go over their different, the different positions later and like the
Okay.
higher up and the hierarchy of how that goes. But the shamans is the highest you can go. Being a shaman is the highest, or elder. And they're the ones that appoint the leaders.
And so the shaman that Sam is he the shaman for all of the Sarsahr and all of the universe?
Sam isn't a shaman. He's a leader. It's different.
Oh, okay.
So the shamans overlook the entirety of the species, while a leader overlooks one base.
Got it.
Right. So it's one step down. A leader is one step down. And I'll go over that in more detail in a second. And this is stuff I've witnessed and studied and for years. Their different jobs and stuff. And I still haven't gotten through all their types of jobs, but I know the top tier positions and the rundown of those. So there's more than one leader, and they're based, they're based off the decision of what vibration that individual is as. So there's no chance of a Sarsahr becoming leader who's at like the spiritual term for 3D, who's at a 3D level. Again, that doesn't mean they're not solid beings or whatever. It's just their vibration. I'm just going to say third vibration because that just makes more sense. Saying 3D is really, it just goes against.
I like the way they say that too. Different levels of vibration, which are still probably not like a line you cross and more of a
flow.
Bleed through,
Yeah, it's a bleed through.
Just because it's a vibration and we're not always constant. We get happy and we get sad. We just do.
Right. You're not, just because some people say, I'm at a 3D now. I'm like, yeah, maybe today.
Yeah.
Not to put you down, but I'm like, that's great. But
I have moved up into the 5th dimension, and that's where I stay from now on. Goodbye, you 3D fools. It's not like that.
Yeah, no, it's not like that. Which, I mean, that's just a belief of mine. I mean, we both could be wrong. It's whatever.
That's true, but I like that we're on the same page.
Yeah.
That's always nice.
So the leaders, not the shamans, the leaders are part of a larger council that base their decision off of what is best for the collective. Each base has one leader that is appointed there, and these leaders help take care of the people that live there, safety, comfortability, and diplomatic matters. So that's Sam's job. He is the leader of one base, and there's one leader per base. There's not one leader that oversees all the bases, because that's just too much. So there's one leader.
Where's the other? I know there's one here, one in Australia. Where's the other one? I don't know.
Mount Shasta.
Oh,
in California.
Oh, really?
So there's
okay.
one in Nevada, there's one in Mount Shasta, and one in Australia.
All right, let's go to Mount Shasta. Okay.
Ugh.
And Australia.
No, it's too far away. And everything
Mount Shasta
tries to kill you there, so I'm not going there.
I'll go there. I'll represent.
All right, that's fine. So they also believe, so this is part of their beliefs from moving on from position, kind of. They believe in tit for tat, or eye for an eye, form of justice. So my favorite thing I like to think about is from Princess Diaries, where the guy was brushing the girl's hair and the brush broke, and then later on he broke her glasses in half, and she's like, you just broke my glasses, and he's like, you broke my brush. That's kind of like how the Sarsahr are. They're like,
well,
yeah. The Sarsahr are not inherently violent like we are. They must be provoked in order to react violently, and it's always out of defense. They usually prefer to run away because they don't want to hurt another life. So think of peace and calm as their default setting, but when triggered, they can feel another way. Versus humans, where we tend to just be aggravated most of the time.
And don't forget that they can only feel one or the other, because sometimes maybe in our anger we can also feel compassion. They're just like...
Yeah, I'm just about to go over that. So now we're moving on to ego and emotions. No, it's fine. It's a nice segue. So the Sarsahr do have egos. When you're an incarnated being living, you have an ego. Each individual Sarsahr has their own personality, opinions, ideas, and goals, like humans do. They all feel the same emotions that humans feel. They can feel anger, sadness, joy, jealousy, lust, things like that. They're only able to feel one emotion at a time, like you said. And they sometimes feel up to 2 when extremely overwhelmed. So if they're angry, it encompasses all that they are and it empowers them. And that is just a lot. They need to be provoked, like I said, to feel anything other than a sense of peace and calm. So I'm going to get into the vibration versus third dimension labeling. So this is, there are some Sarsahr that are in 3V, third vibration. The spiritual community would call it third dimension, but that's not scientifically correct. For me, it bothers me when someone says 3D, because I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. But that's just me. And others can be up to fourth or fifth or even a higher vibration. So like I said in the beginning, you can physically touch them. You can see them with their physical eyes. They're not in another dimension or anything. The higher your vibration is, the higher your esteem is in their community. So the higher you're up in the social hierarchy, which plays so depending on how high your vibration is, means how high you are in the social hierarchy, which also affects how high up in a position you can get.
You know what's interesting about that? Maybe you could talk about this, is that they very much take pride in their position, but at the same time, they're very accepting of everybody.
Yeah, there's no levels. They don't think they're better than someone else. Well, some of them might. Some of them will be like snotty, but most of them aren't. They love and accept everybody. So they can easily astral project themselves when in deep meditative state or when asleep, so they can go anywhere. So even us humans can do this, but they're just like better at it than us because they're just becomes naturally
professionals.
Right, they're professionals. But this doesn't mean they're interdimensional beings. I mean, if you want to use that term, that means we're also interdimensional because we can astral travel.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it, because here I am in the third dimension, the third vibration, the physical sense. But, I lay down and close my eyes. I can go on an interdimensional adventure, but I'm still this person.
Right. You just left your body for a little bit. Yeah, so it's the same thing with them. They can also do remote viewing. However, this does not mean that they can be in two places at once. So usually when people who are friends with Sarsahr or married to one, they'll say, oh, my Sarsahr was with me. It's either because they are in a deep meditative state and astral projected to you, or they're remote viewing you from where they are. So they're not like energetically with you. You may feel them, but especially if you have a close bond with them, but they're probably remote viewing you, most likely. But again, they're not good multitaskers. They can't be in two places at once. So I can't be channeling Sam and then he be like somewhere off talking to somebody.
Right. He's got to be in his meditative state to.
Right. And that's how I trance channel him. He astral projects himself. He's meditating in his bedroom while I'm trancing him. It's very interesting. So now we're going to move on to their views on death. Okay. The Sarsahr do mourn when one of their kind transitions. And they all mourn as one people. It's not just like the family or the people who knew them. It's the entirety of the species. And they place the body in a skin-tight jumpsuit. And the coffin shapes the outline of the body. And I've witnessed a Sarsahr funeral before, which was kind of intense. And the inside of this coffin glows. So, and it's a plexiglass that covers the top of it. So it looks like there's nothing like, it's not encased. It doesn't look like it's encased, but it is if you look close up. And they place the body inside as though it were standing. So it's standing up. They have the coffin, it outlines the body, and they have it standing upright.
So unnerving. Bye.
Yeah, so then they place this coffin upright and they face it towards those attending the funeral. So it's standing up on a stage almost. It's like in an amphitheater, and they have this coffin facing this dead body. Everyone will carry small lights that are similar to like candles and mourn silently to themselves and as a group. Okay. Afterwards, the coffin is buried in the highest part of the mountain, and it's buried while standing upright. They do this because they believe that if the deceased person is standing upright and placed at the highest point, which is a mountain, the soul will find their way much easier and faster to the afterlife.
That's sweet.
Yes. And now we're moving on to their economy and their workforce. So,
all their big Sarsahr dollars.
Big Sarsahr dollars. Oh, God, they don't have money. So, economy. The Sarsahr don't have any need for money. They share everything within their community, and they trade and share services among one another rather than trade currency. So they're very socialist, and which I find funny because there's some people in the group who are just like so against socialism and all that. And
well, if it worked, then it's a really great idea, and it's working for them.
It's working for them. It may not work for us because we're kind of immature. We may take it a bit extreme. We tend to take everything to the extreme. So all the Sarsahr are given their basic rights like shelter, food, access to healthcare, electricity, plumbing, clothing. All their needs are met. Because they have no worries for money, the Sarsahr don't work jobs in order to make ends meet. They are able to focus on their passions and contribute to their society by doing something they love. As long as they contribute to their society, they get everything they need. That, I guess that's the form of payment, is a service. But they want to. It's not like they feel they have to. They want to. They call it a position instead of a job. And they do have promotions in each of the positions. Any position a Sarsahr decides to take on is seen as honorable, since they're helping to contribute to their community and their species. So, there are promotions, but they don't see it as, oh, well, I'm an ambassador, so that means I'm better than you, kind of thing.
Right.
They're not like that. They do have ego, but that kind of ego is not attached to jobs. So all Sarsahr contribute, and they share to their community, and they all take care of one another. So they have a very strong sense of oneness between their species that us humans lack. So now we're going to get into detail about the types of positions they have. So the very top, the very highest position you can get is to be a shaman or an elder. And you have to be at a certain vibration in order to do it. Anyone can do it, though. A lot of them, so like a shaman will channel and stuff, and they decide, it's like a huge council, and they all meet up with each other, and they decide what's best for our species as a whole. What's our next step, and what should we do? And then below shaman, directly below, is a leader, which is what Sam is. And each base has one leader, and not... So, say, like on Earth, there's 3 bases. There's not going to be one leader that oversees all 3 bases. I asked him that before. I said, so do you oversee all 3 bases? And he laughed and said, no, that's way too much work. And he's like, there's one leader per base. And I've met the other leader at Mount Shasta before.
Did you?
He's cool. He's a bit more old-fashioned than Sam is, but he was really nice with me. He kept his distance, but I could feel he was checking up on me to make sure I was safe.
Was that when you went up there in the summertime, or was it?
Yeah.
When you went, okay.
And then the leader over at the base in Australia is super small. There's like 50 people there, so it's not like he does a lot. It's mostly used for maintenance, that base.
He's got a cushy job then.
Yeah, it's a maintenance job. So he's the main mechanic, but he was appointed later.
I have a question.
What's up?
I don't know if you can answer this. Who gauges? How do you measure at what vibrational level somebody's at?
The shamans do. They don't put a label to it. They're not like, I'm at 6B, so that means I can do this, or I'm at 3D, it means I can do this.
Right.
No, the shamans, it's just a feeling, like a vibe they get, you know.
Okay.
It's us humans that put a label to, the different vibrations, which...
Because there's no way I can, even if a medium told me I'm vibrating at this level, I don't know how they even know. That sounds like a filtered message. I would never be able to tell you what level I'm at. I could tell you that I'm higher than I was 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
And I'll probably continue to raise it, but I don't know which level.
Right.
And I'm sorry, I don't like that part.
No, Sam says that they don't use those labels. They use them for us when we're talking about it, but for them, they don't. It's just an overall feeling for them.
Okay.
The shaman are and they channel, and the shamans, not that other Sarsahr can't channel, who aren't shaman, but the shaman's job is to...
That's theirs.
And they foresee who would be a good leader, and they'll see the long run of it and what would cause it. So that's why they appointed Sam leader, is because he married me, and they saw all the good that would happen because of his position. A lot of the changes that would happen would not have happened had Sam not been a leader.
That's right.
It would have been
He's a superstar.
Yes.
You go, Sammy J.
So, yeah. Sam's so sweet. And I was there at his ceremony when he got promoted. It's a huge ceremony that you do when people get promoted. And we got a tiara, too. I got a fucking crown. So they make custom crowns for you. And that's supposed to, and you only wear them at special ceremonies and stuff. Yeah, I didn't know they had crowns. I didn't know they had crowns until I experienced that they had them.
Funny. I have one too. Maybe I'm a Sarsahr princess. I'm just kidding.
I'm not a princess.
Mine came from Denver, though.
I'm a queen, all right?
Right, sorry.
All right.
You're in a queen vibration.
Yeah, I'm in a queen vibration. So directly below a leader is a captain, which Sam used to be a captain, so I can tell a bit about that position. They oversee like the shipments and the new arrivals, so they'll meet and greet them. I mean, Sam does too because he's the leader, but the captain is the first person that greets these individuals. They oversee the organization of who's coming and who's going from the base, the transfers. They oversee like the inventory, and they're like the main general. So they're like the head general of the, like the Pentagon has the, I don't know what the fuck the high general is called. What the fuck?
Don't talk to me about that.
But it's kind of like that same concept. It's the same concept. But they're not higher up than the leader. So, and there's one captain per base.
Okay.
Because each base needs a different set of inventory and get a different set of transfers and things like that. So.
All right.
And so the captain, so the shamans, so the captain has to report to the leader and is like, this is what we need and this is who's coming and who's going, and the leader approves it. Okay. They also say someone wants to leave the base, and they have to run that through the captain, and the captain will run it through the leader. So Sam says yes or no to people who are able to leave the base and go visit other humans and stuff. So if your Sarsahr can't visit you, then that's Sam's fault. Yeah. Below captain is, well, on the same level as a captain is an ambassador as well. And there's one ambassador, like, again, per base. There's always, that, but ambassador, a teacher. So someone who teaches children is pretty high up because children are considered very precious. Aww. So below those three positions who are on the same level is a pilot, an engineer, a mechanic kind of person, and then below that's like a soldier. So a lot of them are like on the same level after that. So a soldier is in the same position as a doctor. And then they have people whose jobs are to clean and whose jobs are to cook, because they have like a cafeteria kind of area, but people can cook for themselves, but Sam doesn't cook. He doesn't know how. So he goes to the cafeteria to get his food.
I wish I had a cafeteria.
I wish I did too. So I have Uber Eats. That's my cafeteria. Right. And they have communications officers, and they have gardeners, and a mother is considered a position as well. Anyway, but those top positions, I know their hierarchy.
Hey, do the mothers wear crowns?
No.
If not, I think we should change that.
The mothers should wear crowns.
I got my mommy crown. It'll be full of like peanut butter.
It'll be all sticky from the kids. Mm-hmm. All right, so now we're going to move on to family life and social hierarchy. Exciting stuff. The Sarsahr have the same family structures that humans have. They have mothers and fathers and uncles and aunts and cousins. The Sarsahr uphold family and motherhood to the highest esteem, and becoming a parent is the greatest goal of all. The Sarsahr women are honored and deeply respected by all Sarsahrs because they are the bringers of life. When a Sarsahr female becomes a mother, it is seen as not only the greatest accomplishment, but also sexually arousing to a Sarsahr male. The men and women are treated equally, but women can also work a position as well as men. So there's no like sexual bias, and they don't say like a woman can't be a leader or anything like that. As much as they do treasure the women, they don't see them as unequal to men, and there's still an equality. Can you hear music playing on my end?
I do hear it. I pulled this out, and I thought it was my kids, and somebody was going to get in trouble. But somebody at your house is going to get in trouble.
No, it's my roommate, my new roommate. I hope it doesn't bug people because
it's so faint.
Okay.
But I do hear. But it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. We'll just deal with it this one time, and you can go, crack a whip to her.
No, I don't want to be mean.
No, but it's really okay. No, it's okay. Just
Okay.
let her know you're recording and keep the music down next time.
I still haven't explained to her what I do. Um,
Oh, really? That's
yeah.
funny.
Okay. So, all right. So because family life is held up so highly, it plays a huge role in the social hierarchy. So the hierarchy is established by how big your family is rather than money, since they have no currency. And since it's
Okay.
difficult for Sarsahr to have children, being extremely fertile will put you at the top of the social hierarchy, which is why big families mean you're higher up. The bigger the family, the more respected and higher up you are in the social chain, pretty much.
Interesting.
So the higher up you and your family are, the better chance you have of getting a promotion as well. So it's kind of like they intersect each other. So then the higher position you have, the more respected you are, and vice versa. So, so like it was discussed in the beliefs and egos section, those that are able to jump up to a higher vibration are held up to a higher esteem, which bumps them up the social hierarchy. So there's different variables that play into how high up you can go. And they have a better chance of getting offered a promotion than, say, someone who's been in a runner-up position longer. So just because you've been, say, someone who's been a captain all their life, that doesn't automatically mean they're going to get that leadership role, which is the one step up, just because the leader retired or whatever. Seniority means nothing to them. Although they do take care of their elderly, just because you've been in a position longer doesn't mean
you automatically get it by default.
Right. No, they don't do that like we do, which is they think that's a major flaw, because someone could be really good at that one position, but they probably won't be good for the promotion or
Interesting. Yeah.
Anyway, so the Sarsahr follows social hierarchy very strictly, and they even follow our human hierarchy when among us. So, for instance, they know to treat a general with more respect than an enlisted man. So, as much as we love Gwenny, she does obey the social hierarchy a lot because she's higher up and she loves it. She loves playing her card of I'm better. So, however, there are some Sarsahr who do not care for this hierarchy and will treat everyone with the same amount of respect, no matter where they are in social class, like Sam does. So Sam, people have to bow their heads to him when he walks by, and Sam's little way of, fuck the system is like he bows back. He bows back.
All right.
He's like, hey, we're equals. What's up? People think
he's
it's strange.
A rebel.
Right. That's very rebellious among their people.
That's sweet.
So
that's a good rebellion.
It's very subtle. It's very Sammy, but he is a bit rebellious, and he kind of, as leader, he's a bit different because he wants to shake things up, but he's also feels like he has to obey and take the advice of the previous leader and the people who are trying to help him, saying, no, you should do things this way. So he's like, all the advice given to me is going this way, but my heart says to do this.
That's a challenge because he wants to honor this change and growth, but then there's old school people. Ooh.
Yeah. So, and he doesn't want to upset people too much. So he's like, what's a good amount of change to happen all at once, So he, some people think of him as following the rules and stuff, but he doesn't really. He's kind of like he's a spy. He's tearing it down from the inside, He's an insider, kind of messing things. I don't want to put him on blast like that because the Sarsahr are going to be watching this, but he's in his own way a rebel, and I love that about him. I love that. He doesn't follow the status quo, and he gets a lot of trouble for that. Anyway, so a lot of people don't think of him like that, but he is. So we're going to move on to socializing and the Sarsahr language. So the Sarsahr are highly sociable, and they prefer to travel in packs rather than be alone. Where there is one Sarsahr, there is sure to be another close by. They socialize and converse through spoken language. So because they're not telepathic naturally, they have to use the helmets. They communicate verbally, unless it's for safety reasons that they have to communicate telepathically through the helmets. There are only certain, like I said, certain circumstances where they use the helmets. Their language sounds like meadowlarks chirping. Also crickets too. They sound like a cricket. They also will bark similar to a dog, or they'll whinny similar to a horse. A lot of us who went to the Stardust event heard their language out in the desert. them talking amongst each other. When they laugh hard enough, their laughter turns into dog barks, which is super funny. You know how some of us will snort like a pig or something? That's like their version of it. So the written language of the Sarsahr looks similar to the hieroglyphics, and it isn't as creative as our languages are. And their language is more symbols that say exit, enter, door. They can't do like creative writing with their stuff. And I've written out examples of what their language looks like, which you would have to look at the document.
Okay.
So Sarsahr enjoy a dry sense of humor and cheesy puns. They do not comprehend sexual humor. Some do. But most of them, like,
they get it. They just don't think it's funny.
Right. They don't think it's funny. They'll be like, yes, all right, I get
Yeah,
the
fine.
concept.
She said that. She keeps saying that.
You know, Sam jokes with... Right. So Sam will joke with me sexually, but it's more flirtation and less about us. That's what she said kind of joke. They're not thinking like that.
They're not 12.
Right. They're not right. They're not 12 like me. So if you ever come across a Sarsahr being, and this is just some advice from people who've come across them. It's not just my advice, but also other people who've come across them. So if you see one, stand completely still with your hands rested at your side. This is their sign for peace. One way to break the ice with a Sarsahr being, especially if it's a woman you're speaking to, say, I mean no harm. I recognize that your mothers love their children more than human mothers. I will not do anything to harm your children, or any of you that are nearby. So, yeah, hold on.
So you just say that and they'll hear us.
Yep. You say it out loud, too. So the Sarsahr women are very giggly and playful. The ones that live here on Earth thoroughly enjoy human clothes and love to go shopping. Both the men and women like to attend shows in town. They may be a highly advanced species, but they do enjoy entertainment. And they also like to sing and dance. And all that. Can you really hear the music really loudly?
Just barely. It's fine.
Barely?
It really
Okay.
is just fine.
Okay, because I don't want people to be annoyed with the video, but I really don't want to tell my roommate that she can't listen to music at the same time. You know, because this video is going to be kind of long. You know.
Oh, yeah, keep going. Just next time tell her if she's there.
Right. All right, so we're at 37 minutes. My mouth is getting dry.
Sure are.
That's what she said. My mouth is getting dry.
Get it wet. I'm going to suck it and get it wet.
Yeah.
Okay, what were you saying?
So now we're going to move on to intimacy. Woo! You're right on cue with all this.
Another segue.
Right. So the Sarsahr are very private people. They are not fans of PDA, public displays of affection, which I used to always get in trouble for in high school. You know, in high school we weren't allowed to show PDA or even hold hands. It sucked. But
Never had an opportunity. I'm working on it. Keep going.
And they prefer to keep everything physical concerning their love lives behind closed doors. I mean, there are some variations. Like, there may be one Sarsahr who's like Avery, who's all open about it. But, like, Sam's pretty private, and most of them are. About 99% of them are. To them, hand-holding is the equivalent of kissing. So you will not find the Sarsahr holding hands out in public at all. They are not highly physical creatures to begin with, so touching a Sarsahr, even by accident, is a huge no-no. When I say not highly physical, I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about, even with us humans, we hug each other all the time. We're always constantly touching. Mm-hmm. They're not like that. So don't touch one. Don't touch them. It's a big no-no. And the Sarsahr, this is between the Sarsahr and their couples, not a Sarsahr and a human, which is a different dynamic. Sarsahr couples do not kiss on the lips to show affection. Kissing isn't something that's common at all. They nuzzle each other's faces and do Eskimo kisses kind of thing. Think about penguins and how they show affection. It's the same way. They do have physical sex, like I said before, but they're not as adventurous in bed. And that's just my own personal observation. So they don't...
Watch it.
Just kidding. This is just based off of what Sam has told me.
Okay.
But they don't participate in several different positions or use any type of toys. They view sex as a sacred act that only married couples engage in. They must be imprinted with the person before they engage sexually. They do engage in another form of sex, which is called tantric sex or energetic sex. When a Sarsahr finds another they are drawn to, they will engage in a courtship. So it's not dating, it's courting. Depending on the individual, it could be either their soul that pulls them towards the other, their physical appearance, their social class, their vibration, their personality, humor, whatever. It depends. Sometimes we're just attracted to somebody and we're just like,
Right.
Like usually when I attract to somebody, it's because I like their neck. I'm weird. I like people's necks. That's the first thing.
I always want to smash my face in necks and I like necks too.
Yeah, I like necks. And then the next thing I look at is their arms. I like arms. And the arms have to be a certain way. You can't be too buff. Can't be. I just don't like buffy guys. So the Sarsahr do not go on dates. They don't do the dating thing. Like they don't go to a restaurant and all that kind of stuff or go see a movie. It is more of a courtship, and then they marry immediately afterwards. A courtship won't last longer than a month or so because usually the imprint would be complete by that point. During this time, they figure out if they're a good match spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Sometimes a courtship will end because they find that they do not resonate with one another, or perhaps the other person wants different things. It doesn't take long for a Sarsahr to reach the conclusion that they're not a good match because they don't waste time like we do.
That's kind of nice, yeah.
They're
be
not
in a relationship for 10 years and it's like shitty.
Right.
You won't leave.
Right. So they don't mess around like humans do. There's no point in changing another person. They're not going to be like, oh, but I can change them. The Sarsahr's like, they are how they are, and if it doesn't fit with me now, it never will. That's how they think. After a courtship is when the imprinting takes place. So it's not during the courtship, it's afterward. So before, it's kind of like a crush a little bit, but then the imprinting takes place. And
that's my favorite part.
yes. So I'm going to go over detail about what happens. There's kind of like stages to the courtship leading up to the imprinting. They discuss each other's goals in life. Do they want kids? Do they want kids right away? Do you want them later? Sometimes, very rarely, some Sarsahr don't want any kids. And that's very rare. And then if they meet past that first stage, let's just call it a stage, then they move on to values and morals. Do they believe in the same things? Because that also dictates how the kids are going to be raised. And if they're constantly fighting over how the kids are being raised, it's not going to work out very well. So then when they pass that stage, then they go on to the physical. The physical part is so innocent for them. It's such a huge deal. They brush upper arms. They brush shoulders. They walk past each other. And it's like, oh my God. It's like the equivalent of like holding hands or something,
How cute. Oh.
And then they'll, see if they feel a spark. If there's no spark, even if there's a tiny bit of doubt, even a little bit, they end it. There's no messing around. And not all the time does one Sarsahr, like say one Sarsahr really likes the other, but the other doesn't. So not always, like sometimes the Sarsahr can get their heart broken a little bit when a courtship ends. Sam's gotten his heart hurt a couple times. But it's not too bad because they weren't in love, but it's kind of like, it's still a rejection, and it still kind of hurts, but it's not like it's going to fuck them up for the rest of their lives or something. They get over it pretty quickly. So anyway, after the imprinting, takes place. The man and woman feel drawn towards one another, and it's almost impossible to break this immediate bond. When two Sarsahr imprint, it's powerful, and it becomes harder to continue on without an established union. And it can get to the point that both Sarsahrs can feel physically, emotionally, and mentally like ill. They can feel pain if they don't complete the imprint. So Sarsahr marriages are called unions. They don't use the label marriage. And it serves more as the completion of the imprinting and the joining of two souls becoming one. It isn't like a human marriage where they sign a piece of paper. A union means coming together as one. It doesn't mean marriage like how it does for us. It's just different. It's a different concept.
Yeah, it's not a business contract.
Right, it's not a business contract. It doesn't mean becoming husband or wife and sharing finances and starting a family. It's about completing the imprint. That's what it is. Okay. So yeah, it means coming to the end of the imprinting and coming together and blah, blah, blah. So if they were, because continuing to be apart would quite literally rip them up inside. It's more of a necessity than anything, and the ceremony fully completes it. So I'm going to go over how the ceremony goes, which I remember in full detail. The union ceremony involves agreeing verbally to a contract or your vows. So I use vows, it's different. So the vows said vary from couple to couple, like it does with us. This part of the ceremony is done in front of family and friends. No physical contact is permitted between the couples during this part of the ceremony, and it can only touch once the vows are complete. So it's not like, they have to stay abstinent, not touch, before the marriage, but it's just like, then they can hold hands and stuff.
It sounds like just like a ritual, like, you don't see the bride on the day of the wedding in her dress.
It's just a ritual.
It's not official, but yeah.
Yeah, it's just a ritual. And then the second part of the ceremony is done in private between the couple and a shaman or an elder. So the ceremony is incredibly sacred, and it's all symbolic. The couple will first clean their hands in their own separate shells full of fresh spring water. And the shells kind of look like an abalone shell. You can look that up if you don't know what that is. Then the shaman will have the couple face one another, and then they'll hold hands and press their foreheads against one another. So you're holding the person's hands, and you hear your foreheads touching. And then, so the shaman will go around with some type of symbolic cleansing tool to cleanse the couple of any negative energy and wrap them in their loving energy. So again, symbolic. And then what the shaman does is wrap a bright, glowing gold ring around the couple for a few minutes. This symbolizes binding the couple together with protection. And during this time, the couple must keep constant eye contact with each other. I remember during the ceremony, I was wanting to see what the gold thing was, and Sam was like, keep eye contact with me. I was like, oh, shit. Or else the thing's not going to be complete. The union's not complete. Whenever we have problems in our marriage at any time, because it's like a regular union, sometimes we get in little spats. I'm like, it's because I looked away for that split second during the ceremony.
You blew it.
I blew it. So the couple's not permitted to break physical contact at this time. They have to continuously hold hands. So after the shaman is finished with the gold ring, then has the couple face, him or her, the shaman, while still holding at least one hand. So then the shaman will have the man and the woman reach out their free hand. So they'll be holding hands with, their left. So it'd be my left and his right hand, and then our other free hand. So we're holding hands. It's our other free hand. And the shaman will have and then they'll prick the index fingers to make it bleed. When I was doing the ceremony, I started crying and freaking out because I hate needles. And so Sam had to calm me down. And I was like, because you didn't say this was going to happen. I just barely found out we're getting married that night because I don't fucking remember agreeing to it. But then, I
do remember.
But what Sam said was like, when he woke me up, I was like, what are we doing tonight? He's like, we're going to get married. And I'm like, all right. Yeah, all right. He didn't think I was
I remember. I got the proposal, but I have no recollection of the wedding. Just Allison said, oh, yeah, I see it. I was like, really?
Well, the thing is that now I remember him proposing to me, but at the time I didn't. When he woke me up and said, we're going to go to our marriage ceremony, I was like, yeah, all right.
Okay, let's go. Grab my jeans.
Yeah, I wore Walking Dead socks with a big picture of Daryl Dixon on it, a character. Yeah. And I had on my my Hogwarts sweatpants and a big ass fucking shirt that was like twice my size. So, Here Comes the Bride, very beautiful.
I probably wore a sock.
One sock.
Keep going.
So it makes the finger bleed. Then he has the couple face one another again, and while pressing their foreheads together, and then they'll join hands with the pricked fingers touching each other, so the blood is touching. And this time, so they're holding hands and the index fingers are staying up in the air like this. Can you see it?
Nope, you're just a frozen image still.
Oh, you are? Oh, okay. Well, hopefully you can see it on mine.
We'll take a picture so you can see what I'm dealing with this whole time. Okay, keep going.
Like this. I can see it on my end. So, Um, okay, well, I lost where I was.
Touching bloody fingers or
Yes.
something.
Okay, so they'll stay pointed up at the ceiling, pressed
Oh.
together to allow the blood of both partners to mix.
Okay.
Then the shaman will chant in their native tongue, uniting the new union. Before grabbing a bigger shell full of fresh spring water, and the couple is to let go of each other's hands completely and then dip them at the same time into the water. The couple pull their hands out of the water and hold hands again, facing one another. A lot of hand holding. Then the
How
shaman,
sexy.
yes. Then the shaman finishes his chant, and then the ceremony is complete. It's all highly symbolic. And then once married or in a union, the couple engages in sexual intercourse for the first time. Not always right away. Sometimes couples will wait days, months, or years. Like Sam and I waited 3 years. Yeah.
3? I think I waited 2 days. What's your problem?
How weird.
He was anxious for a baby.
So sex to the Sarsahr is a permanent bond that can never be broken. This is why divorce among the Sarsahr is unheard of. The reason why the Sarsahr considers sex so sacred is because once you have had sex, you and your partner are now connected physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. You can hear each other's thoughts and communicate telepathically, which is why a lot of people who are married to Sarsahr say they can hear them. You can't really...
And I've heard my guy one time, so it's the truth. I'm still working on it, and I'll blast wide open, but I've heard him too.
Right, so they don't have to be with you in astral in order for you to communicate with them. So for a lot of people who aren't married to a Sarsahr, when one visits you in astral, that's the only way you can communicate with them telepathically. You can't, and telepathic communication is different than channeling. It's just different, because I don't hear spirit. I feel him. But I can hear what Sam is saying. So
okay, I'm glad
different.
you explained that. That's what was confusing me earlier, because I guess I did a telepathic thing then.
Yeah.
Because I don't hear either. And it was so clear. The sentence was so clear and nothing I would ever say to myself.
Right. No, I can't hear spirit word for word. I can't,
Okay.
but I can hear Sam.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I did telepathy. Yay!
Yes. So you can hear each other's thoughts, communicate telepathically. You can feel each other's pain, both emotional and physical. It doesn't... it's not like how it is, like you don't feel it like it's your own. You feel it like it's a phantom pain and you know it's theirs. Like it's like a knowing saying, oh, they're hurt right now. Versus like, oh, wow, I'm hurting right now. It's more like my partner's hurting right now. Like you just know. It's like a radar that goes off. And you can see them in your mind's eye, even when they're far away from you. So you can remote view them very easily. If a Sarsahr who is married dies, the husband or wife that is still alive will die shortly afterward. This isn't seen as a sacrifice to the Sarsahr at all. They would rather die along with their partner than stay alive without them.
And why? Explain why one goes right after the other.
Well, like I said earlier, they're extremely fragile. And so any kind of depression or pain can cause them to die. And it's like losing a limb to them. That was their other half.
Yeah, it's a broken heart death. They love their sweetie so much that they can't go on without them.
Exactly.
That's so sweet.
And it's seen as much sadder if a Sarsahr were to stay alive, if their partner had died, than if they were to die. So the bond between, a union couple is so strong that the grief and feeling of separation from their partner is unbearable. It's extremely rare that a husband or wife will survive the death of their partner, and very few times has a Sarsahr even gotten remarried if they are a widow. Even while alive, if two partners are separated at too long a distance for too long a time, it will start to emotionally, mentally, and physically harm both partners. So the teacher, Gwenny, she's one example of a widow. She's very rare. But the reason why she survived is because she just had a daughter. Well, she was pregnant, I believe, when her husband had passed. And so she stayed alive for her baby.
So proud of that girl. I love you, Gwenny Pigs. Mwah.
When a Sarsahr is married or in a union, it's improper for partners to be close with anyone of the opposite gender unless they are related. They're very old-fashioned. If a Sarsahr woman needs help with anything, the Sarsahr man must first ask permission of his wife to help this person of the opposite gender. So they're very conservative.
Well, I'll say.
Yeah. Yeah, Sam.
That's too proper for us. I mean, it's okay, it's sweet, and I get it, but that's just not. I don't know if you're made up like that, but I sure am not.
No, I'm not. So now we're going to go over homosexuality.
Okay.
So some Sarsahr are homosexuals, although it is very rare. However, they do not call it homosexuality, gay, or lesbian. They just call it love. The Sarsahr are not like humans where they put a lot of thought, opinions, and beliefs into gender. So they don't find one gender superior or inferior to another. So they don't have like transgendered or anything like that, just because they don't define themselves by their gender.
Okay.
And then holidays. Again, Sarsahr do not celebrate any holidays whatsoever. Those that reside on Earth may participate in our celebrations for the fun of it.
You know that you are changing the world on that one too.
They celebrated Halloween because of me.
That's right. And
So,
way into the future, they're still doing that shit. We're going over to your house for Halloween every year.
that's right. Anyone that wants to participate, many of them do. There's only like a few of them do. But that's about as far as it goes for them. They may participate on the Earth's holidays, but the popular ones, like Christmas or something.
Right, they get into the spirit a little bit. It ain't their thing.
Right. They do not celebrate a new year or any changes in seasons. They are very present and they live in the moment. So every living day is a celebration for them. So they don't, do that shit. Because the Sarsahr do not regard age in a high regard, they do not celebrate birthdays whatsoever in any way. How old they are on Earth may differ from their home planet since they recall time differently. So, time's different on their planet a little bit, since it's 2 days so it's a 48-hour day versus 24 hours. The most they will know is the season or the phase that the moon was in when they were born, and they only keep tabs of their age for medical reasons. So they don't celebrate birthdays. They don't even know when their birthday is. Like, I asked Sam when his birthday is, and he's like, I think it was in, like, the summer.
In the summer. That's funny.
Anyway, so we're at 57 minutes, and then we're almost done. Kind of. Not really. Hold on.
Oh my gosh, girl.
Yeah.
How many more pages? Just kidding.
Well, actually, there's a lot of pages with just pictures that we'll be skipping. So, yeah. Pictures of Sarsahr or whatever. But we'll stop it here, and then the next video will be part 3. It's a long video.
Okay.
And we're going to continue on with War with the Greys. That's where we're going to start off on part 3. Yes.
Ooh. Okay. Now my turn to make a run, so I'll see you back in a couple minutes.
Okay. Call me when you're ready. I'm going to go pee, too.
I got potty.
I'm going to go potty, too. All right.
All right. Meet you back after a pee break.
All right, you guys. Okay. This is the end of part 2. See you in part 3. All right. Bye.
Bye.